name's Eddie Rodriguez. I own Till the Vans Run Dry. We are a small clothing company locally based out of Reno, Nevada. So I was born and raised in Reno. Grew up probably not the wealthiest. Older sister, grandma helped us out a lot. Mom was always working. So from early on, kind of understood how important work ethic was. But moved around a lot. Pretty normal childhood for the most part, up until I was about, I want to say 16 is when things maybe started getting a little rough. Started playing around with, drugs and alcohol and all that as soon as I got into high school. Kind of what would be considered normal behavior for someone in our area. And then probably the biggest thing that changed my life is that when I was 17, got the phone call that my older brother had, passed away. So he was battling some shit, and he just decided to, go. So that changed my life drastically. At that point, him, my older cousin, other older cousin, probably my biggest role models. Just growing up without a dad. So seeing someone you look up to and admire take their own life just sent me downhill. Things just kind of kept going from there. Started drinking more, so kind of fell into depression. Next thing I know, get another phone call. Older cousin, other role model, passed away. He was, killed. After that, just kind of kept doing the same thing I was doing. Didn't really have a path. Didn't really have any goals in mind. Didn't really plan on my future whatsoever. So was kind of just going with the flow for a while, and the drugs and alcohol got a lot worse. Got another phone call, maybe I think 2 years after that. Little cousin Danny, car accident, gone. A year later, get another phone call. Another one of my cousins, Bomar, passed. So it was just kind of a mess for me mentally. Just navigating, going through all that. Really just kept using drugs and alcohol as a crutch for the longest time. And the entire time that was going on, I just keep remember thinking, there's got to be fucking more to this. There's got to be something else. But things just, didn't really get easier whatsoever for the longest time. When I was 17, during that whole, drug and alcohol kind of binge, ended up getting in quite a bit of trouble. Had to do 6 months in boot camp down south in Vegas. Coincidentally, 3 weeks before I'm leaving to go do this, take care of this or whatever, find out my first kid's on the way. So at that point in my life, I was just absolutely terrified. While at boot camp, though, I just remember thinking, I can't give up. There's so many other people counting on me. My mom's already lost, her son. My little brother's lost a role model. I have to be someone they can look up to. So while I was at boot camp, I just remember thinking, this is 6 months. Who I leave this boot camp as is going to be the person, I am for the rest of my life, essentially. And I just remember thinking, I can either leave this place the same as when I came in, or I can be better for it. Because if I walk out of here the same person who walked in here, I just wasted 6 months of my life. So I think that was probably the turning point where I really decided that I was going to start kind of, getting my shit together and working on myself. And just, trying to be this role model. So fast forward a little bit. About the age of 23, once again fell back into drugs and alcohol with relationships and whatnot. Things didn't go very well. Had my first real heartbreak, I want to say. And then after that, just heavily dove back into it. Kind of hit a stunt in my growth as far as character, becoming a better person. That whole idea of being a role model just kind of faded away. And it went on that way for a couple of years, honestly, until earlier this year, grandmother actually was diagnosed with cancer, with lung cancer. So I remember finding that out and just thinking, just nothing of it really. Okay, people survive cancer, things are gonna get better, whatever. But it wasn't until she actually passed that things took another, turn downhill. So being so used to actually using alcohol and drugs as a crutch, my very first instinct was immediately just right back to the bottle, right back to drugs. Until the day came that I was going out with some friends, typical night. Ended up blacking out, which at that point in my life was kind of common, you know, because I wasn't drinking to be fun or be social. I was drinking for effect. I was drinking to run away. I wasn't actually handling my problems, so blacked out. The next thing I know, I'm inhaling smoke, and I just wake up from this blackout, and there's just blood on my hands, and I'm looking down and I'm looking around, and we were in a car accident. So I was driving. Long story short, we were going 50 miles an hour. I fell asleep at the wheel and crashed head-on to 4 cars. Immediately totaled the vehicle. Thank God the friend that was with me was entirely okay. But I just remember thinking right then and there, like, kind of this moment of clarity, like, this is all my fault. Like, this is exactly what was gonna happen if I kept down this path. And that was probably the biggest turning point, is right then and there realizing, like, I should be dead. Looking at this car, looking at the expressions on the police officers who came, and they're just sitting there shaking their head, like, kind of like, how the fuck are you guys walking right now? Like, not just walking, but cognitive, and, you know. So at that point, just sitting in the back of that cop car, all I can think of is just like, had I passed, kids wouldn't have a dad, mother would be out 2 sons, brothers wouldn't have anyone to look up to. And I think that was probably the main point where I decided, like, I'm gonna turn my life around, like, right here now. Like, there's got to be a reason I'm here. Like, there's something, got to be something looking out for me. I don't know how karma had my back right there, because up until that point in my life, I really don't think I was a good person by any means. You know, I tried, but it was an alcoholic's best try at being a good person, you know. So while I was sober, those promises I made to everybody, regardless of how much conviction was behind them, as soon as alcohol got back in my bloodstream, you know, just back to being the same old drunk, stagnant person I was for years.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot.
A couple things, yeah.
Still going though. You're still going.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point behind everything we're doing. I mean, as of right now, it's essentially, I don't want everyone to think it's like an athleisure brand or this and that. It kind of just ties in with people who are fighting. So the whole story behind what Till the Veins Run Dry means to me, essentially, is no matter how much you fuck up, no matter how hard shit gets, like, you can always turn it around. Like, there's always a turning point. You can just make that fucking decision, you know. So I fully believe we're nothing more than just a product of our habits. So, you know, I was drinking every day, just getting worse, and at this point in my life, like, all my habits are actually positive and constructive, you know. So in just a few months' time of, you know, just extreme discipline and just hitting that switch, been able to build actually a brand that has a bigger message to it, I feel like, that's kind of universal. That can help anyone who's really going through things, you know, push through as far as not giving up and staying persistent and, like, really, you know, chasing their dreams and stuff. Till the Veins Run Dry is really a promise I made myself after one of my friends passed away. So prior to that, the idea was going to be build, grind, prosper, and that's the way I kind of decided, like, that's how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to just work my fucking ass off, grind, build. I'm going to apply everything I gain, reinvest in myself. And then after that, all that's left to do is prosper. So the words Till the Veins Run Dry come directly from my friend Case Collins, Tanner. It's a song called One Fry. And then just in that song, he says Till the Veins Run Dry. And to me, that just resonated so hard, you know, just mainly just like perseverance, essentially. You know, as far as I will never quit. As long as there's air in my lungs, as long as I have, you know, blood going through my veins, I have a fighting chance at turning it around. No matter how dark shit gets, no matter how hard depression hit me or this and that, as soon as I really started fighting and applying myself, you know, things have gotten better. So it is something I truly believe in. As far as, you know, I really do tell myself sometimes, like, whether it be like a workout or just, you know, going through stress or being overwhelmed, like, no matter how hard it is, if I'm physically able and mentally able to do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna apply myself, you know, and get it taken care of. You know, and I'm just gonna keep working and trying to be the best person I possibly can be for the sake of my family, for the sake of my friends, for the sake of everyone around me who's depending on me, you know. And that's where, until the veins run dry, until I die, I'm gonna be this person. As of right now, probably the whole goal has never been about money. The main goal has been about helping as many people as possible. You know, I believe it's a message that really can help people, especially those who are down. But in the long run, what I'd absolutely love to do is actually take the money earned from the clothing, from everything else, reinvest it, not just in the clothing, but my idea is to have almost like a Boys and Girls Club essentially, but probably in the rougher area of town. And what I want to do is help as many kids as possible find different outlets, whether it be, for me it was wrestling, that really kind of like gave me something to work on, but whether it be wrestling, fighting, music, art, anything, it's kind of have this center with all these different rooms and different coaches, mentors, tutors, you know, to get these kids off the streets, get them away from drugs, get them away from alcohol, you know, help these kids with counselors who need it, and as well as I want to help bring awareness to autism. So my son was diagnosed with autism at age 2, and I just remember that feeling, just feeling so lost and helpless, like I don't know what to do, I don't even know where to start. So if I could help people, you know, get occupational therapy or speech therapy for those kids, you know, who don't have those means, who don't have those resources, I feel like I can just improve the quality of not only their lives, those children specifically, but their families. So really, I just want to help as many people as possible. I think just starting here with a center that reaches out back into the community and really gives back and just gives these kids these alternatives as opposed to being, you know, drug dealers and gangbangers and getting into trouble, just kind of adding to people's lives. I've wanted to give up so many goddamn times, you know, like just run away from everything. And just really applying myself towards going towards this goal and just having a reason, just giving myself a reason to keep fighting, a reason to keep going is basically what's driving me back. Super off on a tangent, I was going back to the compliments. Anyways,
It's okay.
So I don't value compliments as much, but people reaching out when they're entirely genuine, like, hey, like, especially people who know me, you know, people who've known me for like 10 years, having them say things like, yo, like, I just want you to know, like, I stopped drinking because of you. Like, hey, I started working out again because of you. Like, hey, because of you, I started working on music again. Hey, because of you, like, I'm gonna start taking my art more seriously. Hey, because of you, I'm trying harder at work. I'm trying to be a better dad now. Like, things like that. Like, that to me means so much more than money ever could, because that's really what I want to actually do. I want to improve the quality of people's life, you know. So the clothing kind of just ties in because, you know, athletic wear, people who are working out, it's athleisure, people are just hanging out, it's kind of just like a daily reminder, you know, while we're actually like working, or I have a lot of fighters we sponsor as well. So even when I was doing that, like just training, like towards the end of it, when I feel like giving up, I really just think like, so the veins run dry, you know, like if I'm physically able to do this, I gotta do this, I gotta fight through it, you know, and it's not just physically, it's mentally as well. So I feel like it's just a good way for me to overcome all my challenges, you know. And then came in All Hearts, No Breaks, which is like the next line we're dropping, and the whole concept behind that is, you know, kind of tied in as well, just to, I'm gonna pour my heart into absolutely everything I do, and everything I'm gonna do to my best ability, you know. And no breaks basically says, I'm not stopping, you know, there's not a reason to stop. Until I get to where I want to be, there's no reason to stop, you know. And that's just me chasing happiness, and happiness for me is growth. So I'm just fortunate enough to what I want to do is basically work hard. So working hard for me and seeing growth, it's just all encapsulated, man. So it's like every day growing in some way makes me happy. The guys we sponsor, we were just having a conversation. I was kind of going through some shit, and it was funny just because we'd already started the company, and then we were having a conversation. It's just like, you know, I'm gonna talk you through it because you've talked me through it so many times, and I've been going there. He goes, dude, you cannot quit. Like, you cannot quit. You just gotta keep going. You know, you've been through worse. This is gonna pass by. Just give your heart into everything. You know, all gas, no brakes. And then from that, I kind of just sat there and really thought, I was like, all heart, no brakes. I'm just like, ran to my garage where I do most of the work at, and then immediately started making it. And then you know, posted it, just a picture, like the rough draft or whatever, the prototype, if you will. And immediately just got so many responses. I think I sold like 7 within like 30 minutes of posting it, you know, and I hadn't even made them yet, I hadn't even ordered anything. So as soon as I did that, and people like resonated so much with that message, you know, give your all, you know, give your all heart, no breaks, like don't ever quit, just keep going. That's when I knew, like, I'm onto something, you know. This is bigger than just me. It's just like, you know, it's a fight that everyone's going through, and if I can help people get one step closer to winning that fight, I mean, that's what we're doing it for. So far, it's been great. I mean, so far I've just gotten nothing but positive feedback, and then the people we actually sponsor are all either fighters, powerlifters. It's a lot of physical things right now, but I really want to do, you know, artists, music, things like that, just for the sake of, I don't believe it's not transferable to anyone's passion. I mean, just because you're not physically trained or something like that doesn't mean you're not going through it, you know. So that's why I want to do like artists, writers. I mean, if your favorite hobby is crafting and, you know, basket weaving, if you will, I mean, anything, whatever it is that you do and you love doing, you know, if it really is your dream, chase it. I mean, why not? You know, the worst you can fail. I mean, you can fail at anything, but if I'm gonna fail at something, I'd rather it be something I want to do, I'm in love with, as opposed to failing at being the best postman or the best, you know, Walmart employee. I'd rather, you know, work for myself and chase a dream I'm actually passionate about, because, you know, it doesn't feel so much like work. It feels more like I'm just on my own path. To put everything into a box and say what the whole, you know, messages that I really want to actually spread out and help people with is just constantly reevaluate yourself. I mean, no one's perfect, and if you think you're perfect, just take a longer look in the mirror and you're gonna find out you're not. But other than being the best person I possibly can be, what I truly believe in is working my absolute heart out. I mean, I'm gonna work until I collapse. And being the best person I can be is only gonna help everyone else around me, you know. So reaching my potential, I feel like, would help people around me, whether it either inspires them or now I'm more financially able to help them. Now I'm more mentally able to help them get through what they're going through. So I guess really just, you know, I'm gonna keep fighting, I'm gonna keep working until I die, you know. But it's gonna be something that I want to fight for. You know, everyone's got to fight for something. You know, living is nothing but struggle, really. You know, you got to work to put a smile on. So it's really just, I aim to be unbreakable, and I feel like at this point in my life, with the amount of mental clarity I have, I am. You know, and it's never too late to turn things back around. You know, no matter what you go through, if you walk out from that situation, you're still alive. You still got a chance. Lastly, like, one of the biggest things I believe in is just become the person you would want to save you, you know, like become your own hero. Like, I look up to a lot of people, but I understand they're still human. So finding out that my heroes are human beings, you know, it can either tell you your humans are all flawed. You know, none of us are perfect, but for me, it really inspired me, knowing that everyone I looked up to is a person just like me. They have all the same emotions, they go through all the same shit, but they decided not to quit and they made a difference. So, you know, so the biggest thing is save yourself, you know, become your own hero. And I feel like that's gonna make the complete difference between staying stuck at rock bottom and at least getting on the path towards you wanna be.